Good evening, operatives. This is John from Level Zero Games. I'm here to talk about some of the new additions in Build 5. First thing you'll notice are the logos. We had these done pretty soon after the July 24th build, but they've been waiting till this one to actually get out. You'll see each corporation has their own logo, and then the companies have a variant off of that. Sometimes it works out, sometimes you get really ugly ones like this. I'm still working on the color balance formulas for generating these things. But if you do get an ugly one like this you don't want to see, then you can click change the branding, and that'll work for now. And as always, you can change your own branding in orders. Perfect. So, the other addition, there's a few additions to operatives. So the first is circles. Right now this is just kind of replacing the previous system. You'll see that there are professional circles here, such as the admin circle, which has a bunch of different admins. Some you can hire, some are already hired working for someone else. And like before, you can scout for new operatives, which will add them to the circle. One thing to note is that these are only professional circles, so there aren't any of the more fun variety ones. Those systems are in place, but the interface, as you can see, isn't quite up to match. So once I get a better menu system for navigating these circles, then I'll turn on all of the more unique circles that sort them by profession, by skills, by location, by traits. So you can have your like your news junkie circle and your thieves guilds with a bunch of different covert people and your lady assassin troops or whatever else you might want. There'll be quite a bit of generator variety off that. Probably with that addition as well, we'll put in the favors, but again, that's not in this build. So you can use these to hire new operatives and so on. And operatives will actually see they've evolved a bit as well. They have loyalty bars. We had this before, but now they're a bit more fleshed out. You'll see that they actually generate loyalty for their other operatives. This happens mainly when they go on the same mission together. They'll generate a closer bond to the people they work with. Sometimes it's more if they were very beneficial for the mission. Sometimes it's less or even negative if they were a detriment to the mission. No one really tends to like the guy who got them all caught. This will loyalty to your corporation, which will slowly go down over time, but then raise back up whenever you pay them their salary. Now these guys also have expenses now, so they actually do something with the salary you're paying them instead of just dumping it into a hole. So like for example, this guy's getting 13 sigma every week, and he's spending 8 of it on his living expenses, which is to have his bare and efficiency apartment, and he has 5 collected. Operatives will collect some funds over time, and then once they have a nice little pocket, they'll keep investing in their lifestyle, try to get nicer places. Right now this is just text, but this is the system that we'll be using to power the artwork. So when you check in on a operative, you'll see his actual place. So the bare and efficiency will show the bare and efficiency background, and just kind of give more value to these operatives and see where they live, and what you pay them kind of determines that. So yeah, we have loyalty systems in place and working. We have property systems. Also have a bit of color coding, which is nice. These tooltips just kind of explain a bit about how the tests work. So for example, the minimum tests on a data flow test is going to be 4 because that's a skill, and the maximum is going to be 9 because of the school of 4 and the acuity rating of this guy, which is 5. So these kind of just give you a better idea. So for this one's not quite working right. I'll have to get on that. So I'll go fix that one. That'll be in 5.1. So next step is Intel system has changed. So the Intel system has expanded a bit. This is what we're supposed to be having instead of the placeholder system we were using. Now what this does is you still have your corporate Intel, and you can uncover new associations. And what this will do is it'll reveal bits of intel about things connected to that corporation. So for example, we've done this before, and we've revealed a connection to the Stoeffler operative. Now this will actually cost points. You'll see over time it drops down. And then it'll collect those points, and then every turn it kind of rolls a die and see if it can expose to someone. And if it does, then it invests a portion of that intel into that thing. Uncovering new associations burns a lot of intel and only returns a little bit. You can also convert intel. So for example, if you uncovered this thing and you want more intel on it, then we can click on it, and then I will convert this intel into this. You'll see it still burns down. It's not 1-to-1. It's something like 2-to-1, but it does uh, provide more intel than just uncovering associations by themselves. Now, the reason you might want to pump intel into this operative intel is that these values will actually go down over time. So intel degrades. Corporate intel never degrades. Companies and assets intel will degrade slowly, but things like cells and squads will degrade faster because they're actively moving around and covering their tracks. So we might want to keep pumping intel into this operative to make sure that we keep a lead on them. Of course, we can convert this back into corporate intel if we're not interested in this target. So if you have no interest in this asset, then we could try to use what little bits to uncover new association, which might give us something different, or we just pump it right back into the corporation. And so we won't get the full 15 back, but we'll get enough back we can actually use it again. So using these systems, you can kind of create trees to get to things you're interested in. So for example, this company asset reveals anyone in that company and the assets in that company. The operatives will reveal their teammates. So if you get enough intel on this guy, you start to uncover associations. We might reveal what cell he's working for. We can unveil loyalties that he holds. As we kind of focus on him and kind of discover his network. And so this is kind of the system that the interface is still a bit lacking, but of course that's our next big step is interface stuff. But this system will help you create that kind of web of intrigue where you can plot a path to things you're interested in and then pluck them for your corporate gain. So as the Intel system missions, excuse this cluttered targets mission for now. Yeah, so your targets you have Intel on are all available. So assets, operatives, corporations. You can still, of course, investigate all the corporations down here, whether you have Intel on them or not. They're your starting point. So you can investigate Paravice networks and then use that Intel to uncover their whole setup. Not all of these things are fully interactive. Again, you can still just investigate corporations and companies. If you uncover a squad, you can't really do anything with that. Or if you cover a cell, you can't really do anything with that data specifically, but you can convert that cell intel into uncovering the operatives. One thing we have unlocked so far is the destroy target mission type for operatives. So we can actually set up an assassination mission on Talk Stofler. Cells are teams, just renamed and a bit upgraded. This menu still works pretty much the same. So you assign someone and it'll show you their chances of success. You can pick specific proposals, pick specific staff for those proposals, and you can still go to manage cells and change the network around. Like put this guy on the team, come back to proposals. But yeah, you notice the moves are gone. That is because we can't really show those since we don't know where that target's going to be. So what I'm going to do is in the next version is add kind of a placeholder move listing. As you see, like there's a huge change to the mission structure. It used to be very linear, brief, set moves, target, move back, done. But of course that system doesn't work when you have targets that are moving around the field, like this operative. So right now we have these access plots because he's in the headquarters. But if you were to move outside the headquarters, then we wouldn't need to do any of these. So we might wait to do this mission until he was vulnerable on a mission or something. But either way, you can still just leave them as outlines and have the cell figure it out. Once you start, this is our new mission menu. The main thing is that this thing is added in. This is the cell menu. should show you that particular cell's objective, operatives, and what access and inventory they have. So you assign the cell to the mission, and the operatives will go to preparing mode. They'll gather to HQ and get prepared for the actual mission, and then you just start it as normal. And yeah, so this part is a bit unfortunate. Since this was linked to the mission before, it's no longer following it. But in 5.1, which I hope I'm doing very soon, I'll set it up so you can follow individual squads. So it'll just show you the readout for whatever they're doing. So right now you'll see the follow isn't enabled anymore. This is going to be part of a big UI rewrite to make this a bit more interesting in the first place. But yeah, so they go into place, they go through the encryptions, and you'll see right here their target is listed, both their intel they have on it and the target's button itself. Oh, that's close. So assuming the tomb gets in there and they decide to kill him with explosives, and assuming they know what they're doing, boom, and Stoffler is gone. So on his side, he just got a notice that if that was your operative, you'd have gotten a notice that your operative was assassinated. Of course, we got the notice our squad assassinated him because it's a job well done. Then once they finish that, the team paths back home to headquarters and debriefs. Worth noting is in cell orders, you can abort the operation at any time. What that does is it actually forces the operatives to go to the debriefing, so they still have to get back home. And if they're in an escape or a conflict, they still have to resolve that, so they still have to fight their way through if they're already in a fight. But as soon as they're able to make their own choices, they'll set a path for home and try to come back to debrief. If you've already finished the objective, like we're to abort now, then they just keep doing what they're doing, and we still succeed. If you abort the operation before the objective is complete, then of course you fail the mission. So let's just let our guys get back home. And you also see the squad has access. They're gifted access when they start the mission to your locations. And then when they are doing these objectives up here, they gain temporary access to the international HQ, which they then spent to do this move. So that's kind of how access works: is you earn it to get like keys, and then you use it to unlock movement to locked zones. But yeah, so then our guys are done. They debrief at home, get the message about their debriefing, and they are available for work again. That was a good job, team. So there's been a lot of under the hood changes, changing the missions to this new structure. It opens up a lot of possibilities. So the next build should not take anywhere near this long. I'm hoping to do builds at most 30 days apart, preferably less than that, but that's going to be like my maximum. So anytime I release a new build, I'll set the timer, and we'll try to go for 30 days until the next one at most again. But yeah, those are what we have so far. I hope you enjoy the build, and we'll talk about what's coming up next in another video or post or something. All right. Stay frosty, brokers.